This is Heavy Talk. Each episode serves up straight talk with no chaser. The firing of LSU football head coach Brian Kelly after a 5-3 start to the season has opened years of frustration, controversy, and resentment. Current and former players, assistant coaches, and fans have all come forward to share their experiences. And in doing so, they resurfaced some of the most polarizing moments of Kelly's long career. So today, we're taking a trip across the country to every major stop in Brian Kelly's coaching journey to see how each chapter has led to this one. But before we head to Notre Dame or Cincinnati, let's start right here in Baton Rouge. Recently, news broke that LSU officially informed Brian Kelly he was out as the football head coach. It didn't come as a shock to many. LSU's struggle this season were visible to anyone watching, and the viral clips of Kelly's heated sideline moments with players only added to the sense that things were unraveling fast. After LSU's loss to Texas A&M, it felt like everyone knew what was coming. Many believed that would be his final game, and it turns out they were right.
That's not my decision in terms of whether I'm here or not.
A few moments later.
Breaking news from college football. LSU firing head coach Brian Kelly after 4 seasons, our insider Matt Zenitz confirms.
Breaking news right now at 10, LSU head coach Brian Kelly has been fired.
One post on X alleged that a heated exchange between Kelly and LSU's athletic director may have been the final straw. And while the reasons for his dismissal are still unclear, one thing is clear. Even in being fired, Brian Kelly may be entitled to a $50 million buyout.
The school is still negotiating Kelly's buyout, which right now stands at $54 million.
As soon as the news hit, current and former LSU players began to speak out. Giants wide receiver and former LSU star Malik Neighbors posted a cryptic message to his Instagram story shortly after the announcement. Fans began to express the same sentiment online, saying that Kelly simply never lived up to the LSU standard. Many also questioned whether Kelly ever truly connected with his players. That sentiment became harder to ignore after his handling of the Greg Brooks Jr. situation. In 2023, LSU team captain Greg Brooks Jr.'s life changed when he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. During the surgery, Brooks suffered multiple strokes, leaving him permanently disabled.
Tonight, LSU announced defensive back Greg Brooks has a rare form of brain cancer, medulloblastoma.
What followed was a very public dispute between the Brooks family and Brian Kelly. The family claimed that Kelly and his staff had little to no contact with Greg after his diagnosis.
Specifically, Brian Kelly. My son almost lost his life, coach. Where were you? Forget about football. Pick up the phone and say you love the kid, man.
Kelly, however, said the contrary.
But I would be remiss if I did not address Greg Brooks Jr. and the situation that unfolded in a interview that was done on Good Morning America. There's many things I can't say because it is pending litigation, obviously. But here's what I can tell you. It is factually incorrect to state that I was not there by Greg's side through this ordeal. I was there on multiple occasions. We had somebody from my staff that was there virtually every single day.
Some reports have suggested that because of an ongoing lawsuit filed by the Brooks family against LSU, Kelly may have been advised to limit contact.
Former LSU safety Greg Brooks Jr. sues the school and medical staff for brain surgery complications he says left him permanently disabled.
But public opinion hasn't swayed his way, especially given his history of controversy. And while LSU figures out how to handle that $50 million buyout,
all of these funds are from self-generated and private donations. None of this comes from the state doesn't send dollars to pay for this at all.
Brian Kelly's time in Baton Rouge appears to be over, for now. For more scandals and controversy, we have to go back to Notre Dame, Indiana, where another departure and another controversy made headlines years ago. For LSU, Brian Kelly spent 12 seasons at Notre Dame.
It makes today seem like a dream, but it's not. It's 2009. My family's here today. My dad's here, my brother, my wife and family. That's what is so magical about this, and that my kids know that this was a dream for me.
When the news broke that Kelly was leaving Notre Dame for LSU, it caught almost everyone off guard.
We got more breaking news in a CBS Sports HQ. Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly is expected to be the next head coach at LSU.
Notre Dame had just finished an 11-1 regular season and was waiting to see if they make the college football playoffs. Then suddenly, Brian Kelly was gone. Many criticized the way Kelly handled his exit.
Kelly texting his team during the wee hours of the morning saying, in part, "Let me apologize for the late night text and more importantly for not being able to share the news with you in person that I will be leaving Notre Dame. I'm flying back to South Bend tonight to be able to meet with you in the morning. But the news broke late today and I'm sorry you found out through social media or news reports." Meanwhile, it was just over a week ago that Kelly denied interest in other coaching jobs.
The optics of it, I don't agree with. His answer to Reese there when he talked about players' play, I don't agree with. I think it would be great if he did a presser and did everything he needs to do in Baton Rouge, start to put his staff together, go back to Notre Dame, finish the deal, and then head down to Baton Rouge and get it going. Like that would be ideal to me.
This wasn't the first time Kelly had left the team abruptly, and it wouldn't be the last. But to understand why his reputation took such a hit at Notre Dame, you have to look at what happened earlier in his tenure, a moment that still defines his career to this day. In 2010, tragedy struck Notre Dame's football program. Declan Sullivan, a 20-year-old student videographer, died when the hydraulic lift he was filming practice from collapsed in high winds.
A student at Notre Dame who worked in the school's video department has died after a hydraulic tower he was using to film the school's football team fell over. Authorities are investigating the accident, and the National Weather Service says winds in the area were gusting beyond 50 miles an hour Wednesday.
Just before the accident, Sullivan had tweeted describing how precarious the situation was. Many blame Brian Kelly for Sullivan's death because as the leader of the football program, it was his responsibility to ensure the safety of all involved.
Obviously a very difficult loss for our football team, but certainly pales in comparison to the unimaginable sorrow that we had this week in the loss of Declan Sullivan. As a father of three, I can only imagine the sorrow that accompanies the loss of your son. So it's been a very difficult time for me and everybody within our football family.
The university never disciplined Kelly, and for many, the lack of accountability left resentment and bad feelings. Even now, when people bring up Brian Kelly's career, this is a story that always resurfaces. If the Declan Sullivan tragedy strained Kelly's reputation early in his Notre Dame tenure, the academic scandal in 2014 added another layer.
Notre Dame is being rocked by cheating allegations tonight. 4 players, including 3 starters, are among those accused and could be thrown out of school.
University officials are promising a thorough investigation into accusations that 4 members of the team cheated on their class assignments. Brian Kelly, the head coach, said he was shocked and disappointed by the latest developments.
In 2014, An investigation found that a former student trainer completed coursework for 2 student athletes.
In our locker room, we have a very simple covenant. Treat women with respect, don't cheat, don't lie, and don't steal. And our players see that every single day when they walk into our locker room. It's been on that wall since I took this job. And those standards haven't changed and will never change. I've had them for 24 years as a head football coach.
As a result, the NCAA forced Notre Dame to vacate all wins from the 2012 and 2013 seasons.
In the history of the NCAA, a penalty has never been issued in this fashion before. I think that qualifies for being, first of all, it was discretionary. This is a discretionary action by the committee. That's number one. Number two, it was student-on-student cheating. There was nobody implicated. The NCAA agreed across the board with that finding, and it was clearly excessive.
This was yet another controversy tied to Kelly's program. When Brian Kelly decided to leave Notre Dame for LSU, many saw a pattern repeating itself. Because Notre Dame wasn't the first time Brian Kelly had left the team abruptly. To find the beginning of that pattern, we have to go back even further, to Cincinnati.
And also, though, for LSU, because he's already done this before to Cincinnati. He built them up, got them to a New Year's Six game, and then left before that bowl game. And then now he's become the all-time winningest head coach in Notre Dame and left again at a time where you're going, you could have just waited a week to see if they're playing for it.
In December of 2009, Kelly resigned as the head coach of Cincinnati, just before his team was set to play in a bowl game.
Kelly will not coach the Bearcats against the Gators. Instead, offensive coordinator Jeff Quinn will lead the team. While Kelly may be humming the Notre Dame fight song, some of his former players are singing a different tune. Cincinnati kick returner and receiver Marty Gilliard said Kelly lied when the coach told him before last week's game he was staying. Quarterback Tony Pike says Kelly told the players he was happy at Cincinnati.
Transition is very difficult, and those situations are extremely emotional. But I handled myself in a manner that was upfront and honest. The 2 watchwords for me in dealing with our student athletes and anybody is professionalism and integrity. And I believe that in those areas, that's the way I handled myself. When I had the opportunity to inform our team, I certainly did that. I'm forever grateful for the players at the University of Cincinnati.
Before Cincinnati, Brian Kelly was the head coach at Central Michigan from 2004 to 2006. Even his exit there raised eyebrows. While negotiating a contract extension with CMU, Kelly had been in talks with Cincinnati, apparently unbeknownst to Central Michigan. Brian Kelly left controversy behind there as well. In 2005, Brian Kelly made headlines for remarks he made in an interview with the Detroit Free Press about an ongoing investigation into the death of DeMarcus Graham. Graham had died after being beaten outside a bar. Several CMU players were charged in connection with his death. While discussing why student athletes hadn't fully cooperated with police, Kelly allegedly said, quote, "For example, a number of them were African American." The comments drew widespread criticism. Central Michigan's president publicly condemned the remarks, calling them, quote, "offensive and a lack of forethought and sensitivity." Kelly quickly issued a statement expressing regret, insisting that his comments were taken out of context. Still, the damage was done and the controversy lingered. Even years later, former staffers have spoken out about the culture under Kelly at Central Michigan. NFL coaches Robert Saleh and Matt LaFleur, both graduate assistants under Kelly, once shared a story that perfectly captured what it was like to work for him. One winter night, they thought they'd been invited to a party at Kelly's house. Turns out they weren't guests. They were there to shovel snow and park cars for the real guests. Sala recalled the moments years later saying, "We decided that when we were in that position, we were never going to treat people the way we got treated." Though Sala later said the story was taken out of context, it reinforced a familiar narrative. Maybe Brian Kelly just isn't likable.
I watched the post-game presser last night from Brian Kelly. The most unlikable person. I mean, it really hits you. Like, he's an asshole.
And now, in 2025, that pattern seems impossible to ignore. From Central Michigan to Cincinnati, from Notre Dame to LSU, Brian Kelly has built one of the most successful coaching resumes in college football, but also one of the most polarizing. With the $54 million buyout still in question and public opinion at an all-time low, the biggest question now is, where does Brian Kelly go from here? Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.